Hey guys, what's up? Nick here once again, and today we're going to be ranking the endings for Twist Metal 4 from worst to best. So let's get right into it. If you're brand new to the series, I have already done my rankings from worst to best for Twist Metals 1, 2, and 3. I highly recommend going on my channel and checking those out first, and then coming back to this one. With my criteria from ranking these, I'm essentially looking at them from a writing standpoint on which one's the most interesting, maybe the funniest. It really doesn't matter what genre they're going for in terms of comedy or seriousness, but it's really just which endings stuck out the most to me playing through these games as a kid and of course coming back to them as an adult, and which ones I just think really deserve more recognition. Twist Metal 3 and of course Twist Metal 4 are known as the series kind of outliers for being just overly silly, ridiculous, and downright stupid in terms of their storylines. And I have to agree, most of these are kind of stinky, so it was a little difficult to put these in a specific order. But thankfully TM4 was a lot easier to rank these compared to my previous Twist Metal 3. Because unlike TM3, I do think there are a couple really decent endings in TM4 where it feels they actually tried a little bit this time around. With that being said, we're going to start at number 14, the worst of the worst, which is the Create-A-Car / boss character ending. This ending is just a nothing burger. It really just feels like you're watching Dora the Explorer. Essentially, Melvin just tells you that you've won the contest and what is your wish, and there's just silence as if you're supposed to yell at the TV screen saying what your wish is, and then he says, "Wish granted, have a good one," and that's literally it. So I kind of understand what they were going with here, especially with the Create-A-Car option, but I don't know why they use this ending for all the boss characters as well. I kind of wish they had their own endings or just no ending at all, and I truly believe that would have been better. And at number 13, we have Drag Queen. This is a character that I've talked about a few times where I just feel like the joke is just not here anymore. It's one of those early 2000s / late 90s jokes that just falls flat in today's age. And this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me because Drag Queen doesn't even talk in their ending. They just make these weird moaning sounds, and then all of a sudden Melvin knows what he's saying or what he's asking for, which is to become a pop star, which I guess is fine, but there's no twist on it or anything. He literally just becomes a pop star, and that's it. So yeah, this is easily the worst ending in my opinion, right behind the nothing burger that is the Create-A-Car. And at number 12, we have Trash Man. This one's very sad to me because I love Trash Man as a character, I like his vehicle, and he's obviously a big part of our community these days. That being said though, Trash Man in Twist Metal 4, it's clear as day he's meant to have some type of mental disability, and it again is kind of a joke that falls flat and isn't that funny to me, or I wouldn't think it's very funny to many people these days. With that being said though, aside from being offensive, the ending doesn't really make any sense. I mean, he's asking for a world covered in trash because he loves trash. He's the trash man, and I get that. But then the way they do this is they shrink him down to the size of like a cockroach, and he's surrounded by trash cans with trash in them. But then the camera zooms out and he's in a bigger trash can being hauled away by a different trash man that's literally him. I don't understand what they were going for here. It's supposed to be meta, a world inside of a world. I don't know. All they could have done literally is just had everything covered in trash, and that would have been a fine ending, but they had to go way too deep with this one, that making no sense whatsoever. So yeah, that one's sticking at number 12. And coming in at number 11, we have Captain Grimm. This is another just big sore spot for Twist Metal 4. I love Mr. Grimm in almost every single game in the series. He's one of my favorite characters, and it's just a shame that they really demolished him in this one. Not only did they nerf him by calling him Captain Grimm instead of Mr. Grimm and not giving him his iconic motorcycle, but for some reason, he has a parrot talking for him in this version, which I guess kind of makes sense going with the captain theme, but it's just annoying. It's weird. And essentially his wish is to fight Sweet Tooth to the death, a 1v1, meet me on Rust, and essentially whoever wins gets the other one's soul. So at least he's still going for souls. They at least kept that for whatever reason. But yeah, Mr. Grimm ends up losing. His parrot gets killed by Sweet Tooth. Big sad, the end. And number 10, we have Goggle Eyes. This could have been a really interesting character and a really interesting ending, but they just went full cheeseball with this one, and it's disgusting. So his whole wish is he hates bugs. He wants every bug to be eradicated in the world, but the way he words it is he wants to capture and kill all the bugs. And what do? They, I guess, capture all the bugs in the world inside of his body, and at least we're thankful that the CGI back then wasn't that good and they weren't able to completely do this more horrifically than they did. They could have made him explode, you know, a ton of bugs and guts and whatever. They didn't do that, but they just have all these bugs flying out of his mouth, and I guess we're just assumed he dies from that because you wouldn't be able to breathe. So, yeah, for the disgusting factor, I'm leaving this at 10. And coming in 9, we have General Warthog. This is another character that I felt fell really flat in TM4. I understand they were trying to go something a little bit different here, but I just think his character is overall extremely boring. He just wants to be the ruler of the greatest battlefield of all time. I'm assuming this is meant to be a Sarge's Army kind of call-in, which I love those games. Very underrated. And it is kind of neat, I guess, if that is the case, what they're trying to do. But he just gets teleported into a literal sandbox with toys, and he doesn't seem to notice or care, which I just don't understand this ending. Maybe someone can explain it to me in the comments if you have a different theory as to what this ending is entailing. But yeah, they just were like, okay, you want to command a battlefield? Here's some toys. You're now a toy soldier. And at 8, we have Microblast. Microblast wants to be big. He is really short. He's a short king, we like to call him. And he just wants to overlook the city and have everyone look up at him in all his glory. And what do? They twist it to turning him into a giant stone statue. I actually kind of like this ending. It's super silly. It's a Godzilla reference, and I guess the only reason I'm not putting this higher on the list is really just because of the fact that it's kind of offensive to Irish people and to short people, I suppose. That aside, I still just think it's just an okay ending. It's not great. It's not bad. It is what it is. And at number 7, Meaner Maid. Meaner Maid is, early 2000s, late 90s trope. A super sexy woman being over-sexualized, wearing basically nothing, talking like a porn star. And granted, I will admit, it is kind of a funny ending. I do like this one. It's just silly. She comes into the contest wanting to give Sweet Tooth a ticket for all the destruction and parking tickets he's caused, I guess. I don't really understand it, but apparently it racks up in the millions, and they don't want to pay it. They're going to kill her or whatever. And then Sweet Tooth is like, you know what? I'll do what she wants because she's a sexy woman. And her ultimatum is that if he does some community service, he will no longer have to pay these tickets. And Sweet Tooth literally goes along with it. He goes to driver's ed and does the community service, and it's just a weird ending, but it's kind of silly, I guess, because Sweet Tooth goes along with it. So it is what it is. And at 6, we have Quattro, literally a RoboCop reference. If you like RoboCop, this is kind of a cool tie-in, and I understand a lot of people do like this ending because of that reason alone. My biggest thing or gripe with this ending is the fact that we don't get to see an actual shootout or anything happen. He pulls out all these guns, and all these cops show up outside the windows saying you can't go anywhere, and all the clowns take out their guns, and it's just this, like, you know, the classic, like, Mexican standoff, right? And you're expecting this big shootout to happen and this cool action scene, and it's probably budget cuts, whatever the case may be, but nothing ever happens. He just says, your move, Sweet Tooth, and that's the end. The premise is really cool, the character is unique and interesting, but sadly, no payoff. And at number 5, we have Pizza Boy. If you're new to the channel, you might not know that I have a heavy bias towards Pizza Boy in Twistlemetal 4. He's easily my favorite character in the entire series, and I will stand by that. I love this ending for a lot of reasons, but I will admit it's pretty damn cheesy and really just out there. No pun intended. So his entire wish is to have the fastest, most tricked out ride in the universe, and the way he words it, they kind of screw him over with this. So he gets his vehicle, he goes on a drag race against, wouldn't you know, Drag Queen, and he ends up flying into the stratosphere because this vehicle is the most tricked out ride in the universe. And he ends up going into a black hole and dying. So, yeah, very cool. You know, as a kid, I always thought this was the silliest ending, and I always thought it was really cool. But, you know, it kind of ties into his character. He kind of gets what he deserves, and yeah, I love it. And number 4, we have Calypso. Now we're starting to get into some actually decent writing, I would suppose, in terms of Twist Metal 4. Let's not get too crazy or carried away now. Just in terms of this game, the writing is a lot better moving forward from this point on. And in Calypso's ending, his whole reason for being in the contest, as you probably guessed, is that he was overthrown by Sweet Tooth, and he wants to get his rightful place on the throne back. And in order to do that, he needs the ring, and which this was a new concept brought together in TM4's universe, where all of Calypso's powers are from this ring that Sweet Tooth stole. And so he comes in asking for the ring, and they don't want to give it easily, so he tries to take it forcefully by beating the absolute shit out of those clowns. And then he jumps on Sweet Tooth, they start fighting for the ring, and I guess it ends up exploding, releasing all the souls of the damned, and I guess forever trapping Sweet Tooth and Calypso within said ring. Kind of a cool ending. It leaves it ambiguous to the viewer and to the player, and maybe opening up for like a sequel or something, which sadly, of course, never happened. But I still like this ending a lot for what it is, and of course, we get to see Calypso's cake. Moving on to number 3, we have Mr. Zombie. This was a really cool tie-in to the series, the very first and really only time we had an official tie-in character from the real world, which is Rob Zombie, if you guys didn't realize. And Rob Zombie is a musician and a movie director in the horror genres, and it was really cool, even as a kid, seeing him in Twist Metal 4 as a playable character. And when you beat the game as Mr. Zombie, his wish really is just for the entire world to hear the war cries of a dead man's soul, is his exact words. And then it just plays a section of a music video from Rob Zombie's song. It's the Super Beast remix, which is kind of a bummer. I wish it was the original version, but still, very cool. I always love this ending. Sadly, obviously, I can't play the whole thing for you because of DMCA strikes and all that, but still a really neat tie-in. I would love to see more stuff like this in the future. And number 2, The Joneses. This one is just so out of left field. This one, even as a kid, it made me laugh out loud like crazy when I saw this ending, and it still makes me laugh or chuckle as an adult. And the thing that's interesting about this one is it's the first and only time in the series that there's actual children in the tournament. And I know that there's people that are underage in the tournaments and other games, I get that, but these are literal children. The guy brings his entire family along to be in the Twist Metal contest, which is already bonkers as it is. But miraculously, they win the contest, and their wish is to have a brand new camper. And not only that, I don't know why, but not only that, they want someone to drive this camper for them. And not just anybody drive the camper, he wants Sweet Tooth for whatever godforsaken reason. And they go along with it. And the next scene is Sweet Tooth driving the camper with the family, singing along and getting crazy and pissing him off, literally. I mean, anybody would go crazy in that camper situation. And so he takes the based high route and just drives right off the cliff, killing everybody. Presumably, we don't see the aftermath, but presumably they all die. And it's just a slapstick, really silly ending, but goddamn it, it is hilarious. And that's why I think it deserves its number 2 spot. And at number 1, the best of the best, in my humble opinion, of the Twist Metal 4 endings is Orbitals. The thing I really like about this ending is it's one of the only ones in the entire game where it's not just going for a straight up twist, silly, slapstick, in-your-face ending. They genuinely went for the feels in this one, and they tried to make it more realistic. It really shows that I think this was the first ending they came up with, and then they had to make all the other ones last minute. Because this is the only one that really tries to paint a picture of a real life scenario or a real wish that could have gone awry, and it pulls at your heartstrings a little bit. So Orbital is a James Bond character. Essentially half of his face was destroyed from some laser beam at some point in time, and he has half of a metal Terminator type face. And so his wish is to be like everybody else. But the way that he words it, it's able to be twisted around to where he goes back to his hometown, we presume, or his house or whatever, and he notices that everybody else now has a messed up face. Half of their faces are all gone, just like his. And it leads to him shedding a tear, realizing he messed up and he hurt everybody in the world to feel just like he did, which is not what he wanted. So I'm probably looking more deep into this than I should. It's a good ending. I don't know. I just like it. Even though it's not funny, it's not super out there like some of the other ones on this list, but I just love this ending a lot, and I hope you guys understand that as well. So thank you so much for watching my Twist Metal 4 endings ranked from worst to best. If you agree or disagree with any of my rankings, let me know in the comment section below, because of course my lists are never definitive. These are just my opinions, and I would love to hear your thoughts of which is your favorites or worst favorites endings in the comments as well. Make sure to leave a like, share, support as always. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Peace out, everyone.